Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. Here we are kicking off day 21 on the V70 T598 model. Did some pressure washing on the engine to get a lot of that grum and grime off of it. Let me get the light on. So it's cleaned up a lot better. We're going to install that oil switch, try to patch up some of this stuff on the PCV system, put this intake PCV system back together, and fire this car up and let it roll down the road. Alright, this is a Euro hose connection after 5 years of being on the vehicle. You see the two cuts there, you see the cut there, and it's coming apart in several places around this tube. You know, it's just not worth having these vacuum leaks. If you have a Euro part kit, I'm sad to say, just send it back or throw it in the trash and get some OEM parts on this PCV system. So I do have some that's in a little bit better shape that we're going to replace this with. First up for today is removing this bad bolt out of this head. So they have the size hole that you should drill for this size tap, but to me that 3/16 seems kind of big, so I'm gonna go a little smaller, get a hole started in there, try to get it 1/4 inch deep or so, and see if it'll start coming out for us. I think it bottomed out, that's why it broke, but we got to start somewhere to try to get this out of there. One way you could gauge how deep you're going to go or want to go is you could put a piece of tape, like masking tape, on your bit, 1/4 inch back or 1/2 inch back, so you can gauge how far you're going into the metal. Right now, as you can see, I clogged that intake port so metal shavings don't go in there, and I went in a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little past 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to try that easy out there and see if I could get it to start backing out for me. On your easy out, it's basically threaded backwards, so what you want to do is get it started in the hole and start screwing it backwards, and it'll bite into the hole. And when it gets deep enough, it'll start grabbing the screw, and hopefully it'll turn tight down in there and start pulling it out. This one actually has not, the hole's not deep enough for it to start grabbing yet, so I'm going to try the next step up, and if that doesn't do it, then I'll go deeper and go back to this one. Okay, I'm in the bolt about 1/4 of an inch. I got the easy out finger tight in there. Now you get a little crescent wrench on there because you have a little flat spots on there. Now you put it on there and you start turning. It should start tightening in the hole, and look, it's already turning the bolt on there to get that easy out done. So we're going to go ahead and keep turning this out, and these are what you call the in-between steps. Once you have the screw out, you can go ahead and use a pair of pliers and the crescent wrench to turn your easy out back out of the bolt. And as you can see, we got that out of there, and it doesn't look like we done any damage to the head. So those threads should be good to go, and we're going to put the intake manifold back on after we patch up this PCV job. We was able to get that elbow off the PCV system. I may even use that top hose since this one came apart and could be a source of a vacuum leak. So let us go ahead and swap that PCV system on, screw that oil pressure sensor in, and get this intake manifold back on. I think we may be done with this V70 T5. We got all the intake on. We have the sensor plugged in, tightened down, got the dipstick on, we got the turbo tubes back on, we have the serpentine belt on, the timing belt on, the little leak under the thermostat housing on, the PCV's been put back together, and He's going to take it on the test drive while I sit here and sip on cold water. And hopefully that timing correction will give him some power back and make this car feel like new money.
Yourself.
Okay, we still have a massive oil leak. So, it wasn't a sensor. The only other thing down there is the hose on the bottom of the PCV system oil trap box. So we're going down here with the camera to try to see if we can get a little bit better shot of where this oil's coming from. The only thing that we could think of that's left is if the oil is coming off the bottom of the PCV and running over to that sensor area and then pouring down. But it's hard to get in here. Let me find a thinner support. Alright, so we're coming up from the bottom, trying to look at these wet areas. Am I in front of the PCV, can you tell?
Up a little bit. A little bit higher, as high as you can. And I'm actually...
Let me pull it over there to the side, on this side of that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that is hot.
Shouldn't be have to go up that high. I'm at the bottom of the dipstick tube now.
Okay, I'm just angling it that way.
Okay.
And then going the other way. And back the other way. Alright, go ahead.
Alright, I'm gonna go down a little bit. Yeah, that thing it does get hot. That's the downside of it. Alright, let's see if we can see anything on this video. Here's the oil trap box. There's a chance, other than some kind of crack being in the block, that it's leaking out of this lower hose because it is split. And it's leaking across the block over toward that sensor and then being forced down from that position. Because the sensor doesn't have a large drop on it like it did before. So we're going to pull the intake manifold, because all that stuff was hosed down. It shouldn't be leaking, shouldn't be fresh oil on there. We're going to pull this box off. We're going to change this hose, inspect it for cracks, put it back together, and that's probably going to be our leak. And I don't know if there's anything else we could do to look for any leaks down there, because the oil is higher than the oil pan. So here we go. Now that the engine is clean, we pull this intake manifold back off. Man, we have a lot of oil above that sensor that we couldn't tell with the all that dirt and grime on there. So I'm gonna get a little closer shot. And I mean, it would be odd if this top PCV oil trap box is leaking oil out of the top of it, but that's kind of what it looks like. And I had no idea that oil was flowing through this box. I thought it was just vacuum and air. So we're going to pull this box off, inspect that hose and the lower hose for cracks and deterioration. But there's a lot of oil above, way above that sensor. So there's the sensor, there's the oil there, and here's the bottom of that hose. We're going to take this box off. Okay, we pulled the intake back out, looked at the oil trap box, and it appears that oil actually comes through here somehow. When we lean it this way, oil actually runs out of the bottom of this oil trap, and you may see it dripping, starting to drip right there. So oil is dripping out of there, and we think that's probably the source of our leak. This Euro hose here is almost totally destroyed. This one actually came apart. The lower part with the metal sleeve, that rubber in there is deteriorated apart. So because we don't have a part, we're actually going to adapt a heater hose on that. And I'm going to put the old one that I have on my other oil trap box on that top part. So this is the box that I pulled off of another vehicle that my guess was this system was at least 7-8 years old. It may even be original to the vehicle, but the hose is not hard because I think it's OEM. Then we have a heater hose that we're going to double clamp like the old style was on there on the block, and probably be done with our oil leak. If you look down there, you can see the metal piece without the rubber gasket on there, and we suspect that that rubber deal is deteriorated outside of that collar. So I'm going to pull that collar off. I don't think it'll fit over a rubber hose, but if it does, we'll just do it that way. But I really think we're going to double clamp it. We looked at this lower port. Even though this thing was cleaned 5 years ago, ouch, 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 that thing seems kind of clogged for it to have been cleaned that long ago. It's got some sludge in it, and the rubber gasket around it just really kind of melted off. There it is there. I mean, you can see how I can just break that apart with the screwdriver. That's your Euro quality, folks. Please just throw it in the trash as soon as you buy it. Hi. Don't forget to buy Euro parts, the beginning of your future PCV problems. Okay, learned a valuable lesson about the PCV system. We've got the parts, chains on that, should not be leaking at all. Got the intake back together, everything back together. Going to wipe the oil pan down and go on another test drive. Okay, before we had a bunch of oil. Now we only have very little residue, and we failed to clean the engine off before he went on his drive. So we do believe we've found the source of that leak and corrected it, which was the PCV system. Thanks and credited to Euro parts. This is the Suzuki. We got an idler squealing like a dog. Get that off. So we're going to try to see which idler that is. Okay, working on the Suzuki, I took the idler loose to loosen the belt to try to track that noise down, which is extremely difficult to get to. Down there has two 12mm bolts on the front of it, and it's got a number 10 Allen in the middle that's used to apply and loosen the tension. So to get to that, we had to use a 10mm boxed in wrench, taped to a 10mm socket drive like that, to stick it in the hole, get a little bite on it to tighten and loosen it. Then we had to use the 12mm box to snug it down from underneath while someone else was turning this from up top. And then we used the 12mm kind of low profile socket driver to tighten it up. If you don't do it this way, you're going to have to remove the fan shroud and a few other things to get to that belt, to replace the belt on the front of this Suzuki truck. And this is a 2001 Suzuki Grand Vatara XL, looks like XL7, and it's got a V6 engine in it. I'm not sure if that would be a Nissan motor, but it has a Suzuki plate on the side, so it may be a Suzuki motor. I don't know. Folks, look what we have today. A security shade for the back of the wagon that has actually never been in the vehicle. So, we're going to go ahead and drill a hole, 2 over there, and 2 over there, and install this shade for this owner. First thing you want to do is set the shade in place, pushed up to the back seats, so that the little securing tabs are against the plastic, and then you mark at the bottom edge of those securing tabs. Those are our marks right there. Now I'm going to drill a hole right above those marks, big enough for those rubber tabs to fall in. That's it, a little bit upside down, and those rubber nipples fit in the holes that we're going to drill to stop it from sliding back when you put it in place. We had 2 different drill bits. We started out with a smaller one, ended up with a big concrete style bit. Now that thing should lock in place here, so let's see if these holes are in the right place and big enough to get it in here. To get it in there, you hold it like he's holding it there. You squeeze it together in place, and you put one side all the way in, and then you ride the other side up over there, and then you bring them back to the holes and let them click in place in the holes. We got that one is in there. That hole's a little wide.
Forward one is in there.
And we got the holes over there. Okay, let's see if it pulls back and locks in place. Well, when you come back here, you got to remove these tabs. And that thing should go right under there and lock in place there.
Nice.
And there it is. That's the security shade that you should never leave in the salvage yard. Alright, we stopped in Virginia, not far from Richmond, to look at an 01 cross-country V70. The car seems to be in generally okay shape, kind of typical for the age. The driver's side floor is wet, feels like coolant. That needs to be dealt with. It had 5 codes in it. I reset the codes. It caused the car to stall, and then the car didn't want to idle fine after that. So I think it has an ETM issue. I did get the code, so we're going to run the codes. But the owner of the vehicle hadn't owned it real long, so he wanted me to come take a look at it and give my opinion of, you know, whether or not this vehicle has much life left in it. The timing belt's at 180,000. Well, the vehicle's at 180,000. He's not sure if the timing belt's been replaced. I can't imagine the vehicle have gone that long without that timing belt done. So I would believe that the timing belt was done at some point. So I told him how to take that cover off, and he can take a look at it. But it's probably good till 210. You know, that's a risky assessment, but it is what it is. He's also having lighting issues. That light fell out of the socket, no turn signal. And this headlight here on the passenger side, the beam is going on an angle instead of like a flat pattern on the road. So I think the bulb may be installed improperly on the low beam side. Then he needs to do something with that turn signal. But I'm going to try to do a video in the next day or two on how to get this light out and get it back in and change all the bulbs in it and stuff like that. This is the end of day 21. Just went through Richmond, Virginia, on our way to Raleigh-Durham area. So I think there's 4 people there that have contacted me wanting some assistance. Please contact me in the morning. I should be there probably about 1 or 2. And after that, which may be midday Sunday, I will probably be stopping through Boone, North Carolina. So if you're in Boone, North Carolina area and you have something that you need me to look at or do, please send me a text message nice and clear. Call me sometime tomorrow. And that way, if you need some parts, I may be able to pick them up in the Raleigh-Durham area. Don't look like I'm going to make it to the Charlotte area until late Sunday night or Monday. Thanks for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.